Hi, boys and girls. It's your virtual coding lab teacher, Mrs. San Roman, and today we are going to talk all about digital citizenship, in particular, privacy. So, private and personal information is very important as we learn to talk to other people on the internet, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Private and personal information. I want you to think about a question for a little bit, and I want you to answer it, but in your head. What information about you is okay to share online? As we start to venture into different social media accounts or even, let's say, YouTube, we are going to be sharing about ourselves online, and we have to know the difference between what is acceptable for us to share and what is not acceptable for us to share. And not acceptable would be something that is way too private. So for today's learning objectives, we have three. The first one, we are going to identify reasons why people share information about themselves online. Then we are going to explain the difference between private and personal information. And finally, we're going to explain why it's risky to share private information online. So we're going to play stand up, sit down. If the statement I read is true, you're going to stand up. If the statement I read is not true, you're going to either stay seated or if you're standing up already, sit down. So let's get started. Stand up if you or your family speak another language besides English. And I am standing up because we do speak another language. Next statement, stand up if you have two or more siblings. I'm going to stay standing up because I do have two siblings. Stand up if you have a pet. Again, I'm going to remain standing up because I do have a pet. I have two dogs. Stand up if you have ever been on YouTube. And I'm going to stay standing up because although I've been on a teacher YouTube account and I record myself for teachers, I have been on YouTube. Last statement, stand up if you have ever shared something about yourself online. And I am going to stay standing up because I do have a Twitter account where I'm constantly sharing about myself. So I want you to stop and think, did you stand up for most of these statements? If so, are we sharing too much information? So let's talk about some facts about humans, and I want you to think about these statements. Did you know the human brain is wired to share with others? That means that we're constantly sharing information. That's just how our brain works. Did you know that when your brain gets excited, you feel emotions, and something called the autonomic nervous system causes you to want to share with others? So we get so excited that we don't want to talk about it. And this is part of our nervous system. And we sometimes can't even control this. We just want to be social. And did you know that sharing with others has lots of cool benefits? For example, it helps you feel good. It helps you learn. It helps you connect and build relationships and make your relationships stronger. And it even helps you persuade or convince other people, inspire them to do good things as well. So we're going to watch this short video. It's called What Type of Information About You is Okay to Share? So we're going to talk all about private and personal information. I want you to also think about what type of information is not good to share. So let's go ahead and get started.
Take a look in the mirror. What do you see? Yourself, of course. But who are you? What makes you, you? There are lots of things. Your personality, your favorite food, your pet, or your favorite movie. Sharing this personal information on your phone or computer can be a lot of fun and can help you connect with other people. Sharing something fun that happened keeps a great memory alive. And sharing what you know teaches other people new ideas. Before you share, however, it's important to pause and think. Some information about you, like your full name, your address, or your date of birth, can be used to identify you individually. This information is private and should not be shared online, unless you get permission first from an adult you trust. So, when it comes to sharing about you, personal info can be okay. But private info? No way. Think before you share. with friends, with your community, and with the world. So, what information do you share online?
So let's think about that, boys and girls. What type of information is okay for us to share, and what type of information isn't okay for us to share? Okay, so private information, that's information that you can be used to identify you. For example, the school that you go to, your first and last name at the same time, or your ID number. Those are things that maybe that we need to keep private, that maybe somebody can figure out who you are. So that's private. And then personal information. Personal information is information about you that cannot be used to identify you. For example, your hair color and the city that you live in. If I say my name is Susie and I live in Los Fresnos, that could be a lot of Susies. So that's a little bit, that's personal. People still get to know you, but they don't know exactly where you live. Like if you give them your address, that would be private. Okay, so for the next activity, we're going to think about private or personal. The directions are for each example, discuss with your partner whether it's private or personal information. To help you decide, ask, would this information also be true for many other people? If so, it's personal. If not, it's private. So again, let's go back to our school ID number. If only I have that school ID number, then that's private. But if everybody has the same ID number, then that's personal. It applies to many people. We're going to take 5 minutes to, or a little bit less than 5 minutes. I'm going to show you the actual responses in a little bit. I'm sorry, the questions, and then you're going to respond in your head. We're not going to have you write anything. We just want you to think about it and reflect on what we're going to talk about. So let's look at the two questions. And like I said, I just want you to think about them and answer them and think about the decisions that we're making. So question number one would be, what is one piece of personal information that you would share with a friend if we have a new student on campus? Why would you share this information with that student? Again, there's a new student in your class. What piece of personal information would you share with her? And why would you share it with her? The next question is, what is one piece of private information that you would not share with this new student? And why would you not share it with this student? Again, what is one piece of private information that you would not share with the student? And why would you not share it with the student? Like I said, we're going to answer these in our head. We're not going to actually expect you to fill them out. So instead, what we've created is a private and personal information game, which will be linked in your assignment for Google Classroom. I'm going to go ahead and click it so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and play this private and personal information game, and we're going to tap on start to begin. And I'm going to get some tickets here, and I can decide where I start, but I'm going to start on reflection 1. I'm going to be asked a question before you, it's a true or false question. Reflection 1, true or false? Before you share information about yourself, you should always pause and think. So if I think this is true, I would click on true. If I think this is false, I would click on false. Now, if I get the answer incorrect, for example, this one, I'm going to be taken back to my tickets, and I need to go back and remember it was a red ticket. I would go back and try that question again. When I finish the entire game, then I will get a congratulations slide, and I know that I'm done. Once you are done playing this game, you will also have a form that you have to complete. It's going to ask you some questions about today's lesson, and you're going to answer them as truthfully as you can and as honest as you can, because if we notice that you're struggling with one of the questions, we're going to try to review that more in class so we can become better digital citizens and make sure that we protect our private and personal information. So I'm going to click on the form just so you can see what it looks like. And this is what it looks like, and it will have some questions. And when you're done, you will submit the form. All right, boys and girls, we can't wait to see you back in the coding lab. For now, take care and make sure you keep that private information to yourself and just share a little bit of information with the world about things that can identify you as your person. See you soon.